Osiris used to be a leader of the vanguard in the city before being exiled for studying the Vex too closely. These experiments were deemed dangerous, thus Osiris was never to be seen again, sent elsewhere. In the Infinite Forest, Osiris saw the future according to him, and in Curse of Osiris, 10 prophecies can be found that reveal that future. The city and leaders of the consensus shunned Osiris for his studies, when in reality we could have prevented some invasions like the Red War, attacks, and even assassinations with this knowledge. Today we are going to dive through the prophecies of Osiris and try to predict the conclusion of the Light and Dark saga. So these prophecies come from the Curse of Osiris weapons. While some of these do predict events that have happened and could happen, keep in mind it was written like 5 to 6 years ago and the story obviously could change in that time span. Completing all of these prophecies was also how you got awarded the Sagira Ghost Shell, which you can't currently get in the game. So while the grind for that shell was pretty lengthy, it was a nice reward that came out of that small expansion. Verse 1, Garden Progeny. 2 siblings cleaved by time and space. Reflections never found alone. The ending of the eldritch race. A path long seen, but never known. There's been much speculation about who these 2 siblings are. People say it was Mara and Aldrin, but it appears that it's the light and the dark, the battles they had at the start and what could come in the end. In the Gardener and Winnower cards, we see, once upon a time, a gardener and a winnower lived together in a garden. It was once before a time, because time had not yet begun. Verse 2, the Conqueror 2. To Tower comes a war in red. An orphan sounds the Empire's call. Mortal angels mourn the dead while lightless light wraps night in pall. So this one is kind of self-explanatory, the Red War. The orphan mentioned is likely Gaul, who sounds the Empire's call, while the lightless guardians and the Traveler attempt to fight back. Verse 3, Jack Queen King 3. An army meets and stands and falls. 3 nobles wage their hopeless war. In shifting madness, evil crawls. One stands above the battle's roar. This one seems like it could be the Taken King, but also Forsaken, the curse in the dreaming city and the awoken trying to reclaim everything, Savathun being the one standing above them all in the dark. An army meets, stands, and falls, possibly being Aldrin and his barons. 3 nobles wage their hopeless war. Who might that be? Aldrin, Mara, Savathun, and then one stands above the battle. Verse 4, Machina Day 4. A charnel but effulgent orb, beacon in a loathsome dark. Fetid corpses rise, a long-to-absent gibbous spark. Now let me know your theories about this one in the comments, but when it mentions an orb, it seems like it could be that thing we found in Shadowkeep. The one we find on the Pyramid Eris takes in, and there's also another one found in the Garden of Salvation raid. It seems like these are what the darkness used to communicate with us, and this was sort of the start of the whole Guardians using the darkness plot. Verse 5, Traveler's Judgment 5. A visitor ignites the sky, and in the truth of light it dreams. Above the dead and yet to die, a legion's blade with fire screams. At a glance, this one appears to be the season of the worthy, a visitor igniting the sky being the almighty, a legion's blade with fire screams, and it seems kinda weird that these reference even seasons and not major expansions, but perhaps they had some of that planned out, that the almighty was going to return one day. So the Almighty seems like it could make sense, but this visitor could also just be the Traveler or perhaps Gaul again, igniting the sky when he got the light, and the Red Legion army standing nearby at his side. Verse 6, Soul Pariah 6. Amid the endless death one flew, unnatural all-consuming need, and in the space between the two, accursed comprehension freed. Amid the endless death one flew. Aldrin solves possible resurrection as the crow, flying as a new bird. Crow was unnatural, and in the space between the two possibly being season of the hunt, accursed comprehension freed. Crow was freed from the spider thanks to our guardian.
Why would you do this for us?
Because you're a guardian.
Verse 7, west of Sunfall 7. A spark of knowledge with each fall, the purpose of the endless youth. No longer shunned, dark's nameless call now brings about tenebrous truth. This one seems like it's beyond light, using the darkness and finally beginning to accept it. A spark of knowledge with each fall. The purpose of the endless youth no longer shunned. Darkness's nameless call now brings about the truth to the Guardians. It's reaching us. We're beginning to realize we might need to use stasis to defeat Aramis.
The floodgates are open. The darkness is here. I wield it now with intent to stop our enemies where the light cannot. Your resilience within the pyramid proves you're capable of wielding it too.
Verse 8, Infinite Paths 8. They sowed the first, now reap the last. Forever narrows to a line where light will fade into the past. When all's converted, nothing shines. Now verse 8 and 9 and 10 are a little foggy to me. You may see this one and think they sowed the first, now reap the last, where light fades into the past. At first I thought that was Lightfall, but could this be Witch Queen and the Hive getting the light and the lines beginning to blur for them? It does say when all's converted, nothing shines. That's what made me think it was Lightfall at first. Infinite Paths 8 also feels like it has a connection to the final shape. When all's converted and nothing shines, and the Guardian's light beginning to fade. In verse 9, Null Calamity 9, we see a sacred eye that speaks in lies, upending futures in its path. The way before us to the sky shall see itself in ancient wrath. So again, this one could be Lightfall or perhaps the final shape. A sacred eye that speaks in lies, upending truths in its path. Not sure if that was planned, but we have upending in there like we know the upending from Witch Queen. And obviously some type of battle is coming with that last line. And verse 10 is where things get crazy. Future Safe 10. See who's robed as if a god, who stands with pride above the rest. Destroy this ancient nameless fraud. Destroy the one whose death was blessed. So this may be the end battle with the witness. The last three verses sort of meshing everything together, the light beginning to fade into the past, when it's all converted nothing shines. A sacred eye speaks in lies, was that Savathun upending futures in its path? And lastly, a final battle with someone who's robed as if a god, who stands with pride above the rest, the witness and the Black Fleet. Think about this for a second. What if this robed figure isn't the witness though? What if it was someone like Callus, who's ascended to his own godhood with his pyramid ship? The witness does seem more likely, but you never know. I always like throwing out these little theories. It was also speculated that Callus could control the Taken. What if the witness deemed him worthy and gave him that power like Oryx took it long ago? That would definitely be pretty crazy. So again, this is just for fun and speculation, but in the far future lore tab from last season or a couple of seasons ago, we have some more interesting predictions. These ones come from the Vex prediction engines, it would appear, and it starts by mentioning Ixal the Far-Reaching, who was one of the scions interacting with those prediction engines. Most of these are possible outcomes that could have happened, but most didn't, but one of these stands out above the rest, so I'm going to read a few and then get to that one. The first one here says, the tower burns, fallen in the streets, screaming. The Hive Witch disassembles, crackling portal, treachery, Vex emerge, and Zavala commands. There's also other ones that say, besieged tower, trampled flowers, portraits, Zavala is dead. The traveler overhead, the Empress looking down, the light is ours, Primus Ixal. So we can see that this was Ixal predicting a future where they would win, and obviously that didn't happen. But if we look at number 5 here, this is kind of weird. It says, the tower molders, the Hive Witch's worm, ghosts at war, a voice behind the darkness, the traveler abandoned us, taken cabal, a new hive rejoices. So a couple of those have come true. The Hive Witch's worm, ghosts at war with each other over who to resurrect, the witness. Will the traveler abandon us? Will there be taken cabal possibly led by Emperor Callus, the new taken king? and a new hive rejoices. Who might that be? Is that Xivu a Wrath? So it is really fun to look back at some of these lore entries and think, was Bungie planning this all that time ago? Are these failed predictions by Osiris, or will some of this actually happen? If anything is more likely, it seems that number 5 from Far Future could be, as that came out just a couple of seasons ago, and they obviously have planned for the final shape by now. Anyway, Guardians, let me know your theories down below. Do you think Osiris had some of the predictions right, or will we have to wait and see how this unfolds over the next couple of years? If you'd like to see some more Destiny lore and mysteries just like this video, be sure to subscribe to the channel. Anyway, I thank you very much for watching. My name's Evade, and I'll catch you Guardians in the next one.